I just watched all 6 hours of today's impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden, so you don't have to. And before I get into what was said, I want you to understand the most important fact in all of this. An impeachment inquiry is not an impeachment. They are two very different things. By definition, an impeachment inquiry is a theory or an accusation in search of evidence and facts. That's why when you hear these lawmakers speak, they use really specific language. They're making accusations. They have a hunch that there was some misconduct, but they need to find the facts and evidence to back up those hunches before they can move forward with an actual impeachment of the President of the United States that would rise to the level of high crimes and misdemeanors. So first, I want you to hear the chairman of the House Oversight Committee lay out some of the hunches these Republican lawmakers are going to try and prove.
Joe Biden abused his public office for his family's financial gain. For years, President Biden has lied to the American people about his knowledge of and participation in his family's corrupt business schemes. He lied by telling the American people that there was an absolute wall between his official government duties and his personal life. Let's be clear. There was no wall.
So basically, House Republicans are trying to prove that the president's son, Hunter, was peddling the Biden brand and access to his powerful dad in exchange for what the Republicans say was millions of dollars. That's a very serious accusation, and if proven, is an impeachable offense. To its core, that's what corruption is. To start the process of finding those facts and to figure out if Joe Biden was involved in that scheme, the Republicans called 4 witnesses today. Now, none of these witnesses had any knowledge or testimony that President Biden committed any kind of crime. They were either legal scholars or forensic accounting experts who talked about influence peddling and how that is investigated. And 3 of the 4, who again were invited by Republicans, testified that at this point, the Republicans don't have what they need to move forward with an impeachment.
In fact, I do not believe that the current evidence would support articles of impeachment. That is something that an inquiry has to establish.
Much more information is still needed in order to be able to answer these questions and make a final determination as to whether or not the Biden family and its associates' businesses were involved in any improper or illicit activities, and importantly, whether those activities, if any, were connected to President Joe Biden or then Vice President Biden.
Hunter Biden was on the board of Burisma. Hunter Biden was not qualified. So far, by the way, nothing about President Biden. Third, there were executives who asked Hunter Biden for help. Again, not yet any proof about any kind of complicity of President Biden. And lastly, Joe Biden gave a speech. If that's what exists as a basis for this inquiry, it is not sufficient.
Now, some of the witnesses also testified that, yes, the committee is absolutely justified in holding the impeachment inquiry and should keep pulling on these threads to see if they can find any proof that President Biden was involved in whatever it was that his son Hunter was doing. One of the witnesses acknowledged that President Biden may have even lied about what his son was doing, but he said that's not an impeachable offense either.
While it may not sit well with many, President Biden and other presidents can be dishonest, can even lie to the American people, and that would not constitute an impeachable offense. Indeed, most presidents have lied to the American people.
After 6 hours of testimony, the House committee chairman vowed to keep pulling on those threads to see if they can find any proof that President Biden committed an impeachable offense.